Disco Demolition Night is one of the most notorious and controversial events in pop music history, often cited as the symbolic moment marking the end of disco music in the United States. Disco music, born in African American, Latino, and gay underground clubs in New York and Philadelphia in the early 1970s, became a mass phenomenon. The massive success of Saturday Night Fever in 1977, starring John Travolta with a Bee Gees soundtrack, pushed disco into the global mainstream. The saturation of disco on radio and charts, with many rock and pop artists releasing disco tracks, even Kiss with I Was Made for Lovin' You, triggered intense backlash. The Disco Sucks movement gained strength, especially among rock fans who were mostly young, white, and heterosexual. Many observers and artists point out deeper roots of this rejection. Disco, with its focus on dance and community and origins in marginalized groups, was seen by some in the rock establishment as artificial, elitist, and too commercial, while others recognized it as an expression of racism and homophobia toward disco's original fan base. The main catalyst was Chicago rock DJ Steve Dahl. Fired when his station switched from rock to disco, Dahl carried his anti-disco campaign to WLUP-FM, The Loop, smashing vinyl records on air and calling on listeners to join his army against the genre. Mike Veeck, promotions director of the Chicago White Sox, desperately sought an idea to boost the team's poor attendance at Comiskey Park. He partnered with Dahl to stage Disco Demolition Night during a doubleheader against the Detroit Tigers on July 12, 1979. The plan was simple. Anyone who brought a disco record to be destroyed paid only 98 cents for a ticket. The collected records would be blown up in a big box at center field between games. Organizers expected about 20 to 35,000 people. Reality was different. Roughly 50 to 60,000 packed Comiskey Park, capacity around 44,000, and over 20,000 more tried to break in. The crowd was unlike the usual baseball audience. Mostly young, white, drunk, and fueled by anti-disco energy. Chaos began before the explosion. As the containers for vinyl records quickly overflowed, thousands carried their LPs and singles into the stands. They began hurling them like frisbees and dangerous projectiles onto the field. The game had to be stopped several times due to flying objects, fireworks, and bottles. Detroit Tigers batter Rusty Staub recalled the records, slicing through the air, and urged teammates to wear helmets. During the break, Steve Dahl, dressed in military gear, drove a Jeep to center field. After the crowd shouted, "Disco sucks," and Dahl declared, "This is officially the world's largest anti-disco rally." The box full of records was detonated, creating a cloud of smoke and debris. The blast signaled full chaos. Thousands of fans, estimated between 5,000 and 7,000, stormed the field, tore up the grass, destroyed the batting cage, stole bases, and lit fires with leftover records. Riot police were called and took about 40 minutes to regain control. The field was rendered unusable. The second game of the doubleheader was canceled and awarded as a forfeit to the Detroit Tigers. There were 39 arrests and dozens of injuries. The fiasco severely damaged the White Sox's image, eventually forcing the Veeck family to sell the team. Nile Rodgers of Chic said that watching the footage the next day felt like a Nazi book burning. He and other disco artists viewed the rage as veiled racial and homophobic intolerance. House music pioneer Vince Lawrence, a young black usher at the stadium that night, reported that some protesters brought funk and R&B records, which were not even disco, reinforcing the view that the event carried racist overtones. Dahl has always maintained that the event was just a radio prank and a personal revenge against the genre that cost him his job. He denies any intent to promote racism or homophobia, but admits the crowd's energy spiraled out of control. Although disco's popularity was already declining, Disco Demolition Night became the symbolic moment that accelerated its fall. After the riot, many radio stations dropped disco formats, record labels canceled contracts, and the Grammy Awards eliminated its Best Disco Recording category after only 1 year. Ironically, in Chicago, the city of the event, the movement's energy inspired a new genre born from disco and electronic music: house music. Tickets cost only 98 cents, referencing LUP's 97.9 FM frequency. The following week, many U.S. radio stations declared the death of disco. Images of the burning field became a pop culture icon and are still studied in music and sociology courses as an example of cultural clash. Paradoxically, the same Chicago that hosted disco's funeral became the birthplace of 1980s house music, a style that revived club culture and electronic dance beats. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell.